Hey everyone, aloha. Today we are going to be painting a top for a Volkswagen Thing. This is a fiberglass top and it's been many years since it's been painted, so it's time for a little freshen up. So thanks for joining us and let's get started. One of the first things you're going to want to do is the side of your Volkswagen Thing top has a rain channel. This is made out of aluminum and it is pop riveted on and probably has layers of silicone and all sorts of gunk in it like this one does. You're going to want to grind those rivets off and carefully remove this piece and prepare this for painting by sanding and cleaning it up a little bit. You're also going to want to take off your supports, which bolt in right here. There's 4 bolts. So take those off and you're going to want to sand those down and get ready for painting those as well. If you have any screws up here that the original hardtop or the basket, the top mounted to, you'll want to take these off as well because you're going to be sanding this whole top off. And before I even do that, I'm going to take and clean this because it's obviously pretty dirty and I'm going to need to clean it up first before I even get to sanding. After you do all of that, you can see these windows this is the original glass, but the seals are hard and dried out and cracked. Those are going to have to come off as well. So after you clean those up and sand them down, you can paint them. I chose to paint mine black. I used Pour 15. This is a chassis black. Hopefully it's UV resistant. It says it is. We shall see. And this is what the rain gutter or the water channel looks like after it's all been painted. I actually still have to paint this side as well. Right here we won't be able to see because that gets sandwiched in on the hard top itself. So here is the top that got squished. As you can see in there's some nice angle iron or a channel. You can see it a little bit better here. So that's kind of all reinforced with steel. Here's one of the ones that goes across the vehicle. This is what the metal looks like. So yeah, inside here is a piece of angle iron or channel iron steel that, as you can see, that got all bent up from the tree. But the point is, these tops are actually built pretty strong. Not strong enough for a massive tree, of course, but way better than I originally had thought they were built. Definitely reinforced with some strong pieces of steel in there. So I flipped this thing over and you can see how the brackets are mounted. There's the metal underneath and then the fiberglass is laid over it, but then just kind of cut out and these metal brackets bolt directly onto that. But where I'm at right now is removing the windows. I've never removed the windows in a Thing top in a bus, which hopefully is similar. It's just a matter of taking a utility knife and cutting off this lip. I am having some success from the inside. What I'm doing is just taking the utility knife and running down and just trying to clear this lip of rubber so that eventually I'll be able to take and push this whole thing in. So as you can see, I'm just kind of going around. So I've cleared most of it. I'm just going to kind of see if I can gently pry it. These things are pretty tough, but you still don't want to break it because that's probably an expensive piece of glass. I decided to paint the underside of the top. The paint that was on there was kind of flaking. I think it was probably decades old. It was flaking and peeling off in areas. So what I did is I hit it with the wire wheel sander, my little grinder, my little hand grinder, and then I came back and all the little spots that I couldn't reach, I hit it with the just a manual wire brush, and brushed it off, blew it off, and sprayed it off. And I'm letting it dry for 24 hours. Tomorrow we will start primering this thing, and figured I might as well do the underside first before moving to the other side. The next thing I'm going to do is take and wipe the whole thing down with some mineral spirits just to get any remaining dust or oils, grease, anything else that might be on here, and just want to make sure it's nice and clean so I have good adhesion with the primer. I got this little product from Rust-Oleum. It's basically a little trigger handle that clamps down on your spray paint can, giving you kind of an easier way, more comfortable way of applying paint from a spray can. So we're going to try this out and see how it works. Two cans of primer later, I've got the bottom part of this painted. One thing that I kind of noticed is and I knew about this before, but as you can see, this surface is extremely porous. So expecting that this is going to be a really nice finish underneath here without a lot of additional work. I'm kind of I'm coming to the realization that it's going to be cleaned up with a fresh coat of paint, but it's not going to look super professional, that's for sure, especially if the top coat ends up with a lot of tiny holes in it like that. But I'm excited about putting the next coat on. This is what I've got for my next coat. This is Rust-Oleum Canvas White. This was an old color. I bought a bunch of cans of these. In a previous video I had matched this color almost exactly to the pastel white on, I think it's pastel white, on the Volkswagen bus. Here we go with the white. I've pretty much completed the underside of this, and I've decided I'm not super keen on this color. Unfortunately, I have all those cans of paint left over from a job that didn't get done, and I was going to use them for this, but I've decided to go with more of a tan or a beige, khaki almost color. And because I don't think this is going to go well with the olive drab that's on the thing. So I can live with the inside being this color, but the outside's going to have to be a tan, I think, which I'm going to go shopping for this weekend. I've finished with the underside. Now I'm ready to start tackling the top portion, and I've washed it, and I'm going to hit it with the 220 sandpaper on the orbital sander just to open up the surface a little bit so it'll accept the primer. So I'll use this where I can, and then I'm going to come back and hand sand all the corners and edges, which there are a lot of. I'll try and get as much done as I can with this. For the hand sanding part, I've decided to try this tool right here. This is made by Gator. It's a quick change hand sander, and I like it because it's like it's a sponge, or similar to a sponge, so it's flexible. It should be able to get into the nooks and crannies here. But I've got this thing sanded down pretty well with that 220 on the orbital, and now I can come back in with this and hit all the little crannies and corners and everything that I couldn't really get into with the larger orbital sander. Got it all sanded down, and now after blowing it off and getting most of the dust off, you can see I'm just taking this wet rag and picking up anything else that's on this, any other dust, anything that's kind of sticking to it. After this dries, I'll take a rag and dip it in paint thinner or mineral spirits and just kind of go over and do one last final clean before throwing the primer down. Got this thing taped off pretty good so I don't get any overspray inside, because of course we got primer going on first, which is a different color than what's on the inside, and doing a different color on the outside anyway. So got the edges all taped off to prevent the overspray, windows taped. So and then I've also put a little temporary structure up, keep the dust and things from falling off the trees and into the paint. So here we go. First coat of primer. I'll probably do 2 coats of primer just to get a nice thorough double coat on, and then do final sand before the tan color that I'm going to put on. Alright, 2 coats on this of primer. I'm going to let this dry for maybe a couple days just to make sure, and then I'll give it a final sand, and it'll be time to put the rain gutters on. I've got some plans for that, on how to make that nice and tight, and then we'll go ahead and put the final coats on. So this is a good spot, I think, to end part 1. Go ahead and make a separate video with the windows, the rain gutters, and the final coat of finished paint on there. So that is it for this video. Stay tuned for number 2 on how to paint a Volkswagen Thing hardtop.